this patrol car. I rolled down the window of my vehicle, and I just stuck my hand out there and gave him the finger and sped off down the on-ramp.
Why did you give him the finger? Did he was doing anything?
He was driving a cop car.
He was driving a cop car. That is episode 42 of Criminal. It's aptly called The Finger. We are very lucky today because we have the host, Phoebe Judge. Phoebe's the host of Criminal, which is just a hugely popular podcast. Phoebe, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
So you're in town because you guys have an event tonight in Portland, but we kind of snagged you to come on and talk to us a little bit about some of the stories you've done in the Northwest. Specifically, the one we were listening to was this man in Clackamas County who was giving the finger to law enforcement, and you kind of profiled him for that story.
Yeah, his name was Robert Ekus, and he decided his whole life he had given the finger to cop cars. And cops sometimes, didn't pay attention to him, but one time he got pulled over and the cop said, "You can't do this." He went to court, and the interesting thing about that case is that he won, and actually he was paid a fine for being arrested. He was compensated, and so that's such an interesting case to us because it highlights this line between right and wrong and good or bad, or what is actually a crime.
So you can do it, but the officers,
but I wouldn't,
understandably so, prefer that you don't. But you were telling me, because this is all new territory to me, your podcast, but a lot of it is funny and entertaining. It's not the dark discovering unsolved crimes that you may see on regular television, if you will.
That's the whole point, is that we wanted to create a show which the listener would really not know what was coming next. So it's called Criminal, but that encompasses so much. We have this very broad definition of crime, and that's exciting. It's exciting to work on a program where we can really explore the depths of that word.
I'm on the opposite end, Rod. If you haven't heard too much about it, I'm absolutely
I'm at home watching the Hallmark Channel.
No, I'm a huge fan of Criminal. So when I heard you were coming on the show, I was fangirling a little bit. So you have such interesting episodes. I mean, you interviewed like a bank robber. You've done some really fascinating crimes. I mean, what was your favorite episode to date?
Well, there's an episode we did, episode 23. It's about petrified wood theft in Arizona, and people stealing this wood and then believing that they've been cursed, and so they send it back. But the problem is that once you take anything from a national park, you can't just throw it back down when it comes in the mail, and so now they have a pile of all these rocks that have been sent back, and it's called the Conscience Pile.
Really?
So
you'd love this.
You never know what you're going to get, and that's one of my favorites.
You guys have really exploded in popularity. What's the journey been like for you? You're a journalist at heart, and now you're touring the country doing this show on the road. Yeah,
I mean, we're incredibly lucky. We just started this show. We didn't really know where it was going to go, and then Radiotopia, we're touring with them tonight, brought us on and said, be part of our podcast network. We're going to support you. And so now we're grouped with these shows that we admire so much, and we get to perform with them tonight.
Well, Phoebe, like the bank robber, I mean, you get into his motive. I'm assuming you learn a little bit about the person behind the crime, so to speak, right? I mean, are these sometimes kind-hearted people that made a bad decision, or what have you learned?
Well, the bank robber story, we did that story because I always really, I didn't care so much why he did what he did. I wanted to know how would you rob a bank? I had this curiosity. And so he took me to the banks that he actually robbed. Wow. He's out of jail now, and showed me. We stood at the door and looked in, and he said, oh, well, this is what I did. I walked this way, and he kind of took me through it. I think it's a curiosity about, why people do the things they do and how they do them.
And Phoebe, you guys have an event tonight. This is at the Aladdin Theater at 7 p.m. So if you guys would like to learn more about Radiotopia and Criminal, Phoebe, you'll be there, and you guys will be kind of doing this live show. Yeah,
we'll be doing 2 brand new stories with a number of other shows, and we're looking forward to it.
And if you find yourself sitting next to a police officer tonight at the Aladdin Theater, say hi. Don't flip them off.
Exactly. Words to live by. Thank you, Phoebe, for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this.